We're talking with Maurice Moton from Bleacher Report, a fantasy writer for them, and also covers the Oakland Raiders, which are eventually going to become the Las Vegas Raiders. As we're talking to him here on the Sports Talk Show, what about first pick? Let's say you got first pick in your fantasy draft. Are you going Christian McCaffrey? Or are you going Saquon Barkley in a PPR league?
You got to go with Saquon Barkley. He led the league in yards per scrimmage last year. There's no reason to think that the Giants will go away from him. They traded Odell Beckham Jr., so he's obviously the focal point in that offense now. And people are gonna say, well, the Giants don't have much, so are you afraid that they're gonna load the box against him, and is he gonna have the same opportunities as last year? And I really wouldn't worry about that. The Giants did address their offensive line this offseason. I know picking up Mike Remmers, who I know is a serviceable veteran. Kevin Zettler from the Cleveland Browns is now playing guard. Assuming John Halapayo is healthy, he'll play center. Will Hernandez is a pretty good pick in the second round last year. And, of course, Nate Solder, who struggled at the beginning of last year and picked it up at the end with his pass protection. So I think the Giants have a good enough offensive line to keep Saquon Barkley clean, and he'll be able to hit some holes and catch out of the backfield. Eli Manning doesn't have a big arm, and it's dwindling by the day, by the minute. So he's going to throw a lot of short passes to Saquon out of the backfield. So he's going to get the short passes. He's going to get the runs. He'll have the volume. Again, with fantasy, volume is very important. You want a guy who's going to touch the ball a lot, and Saquon's going to do that. So I would leave Saquon Barkley with that one.
Yeah, especially when possibly 100 of those touches come in the air, because if you're in a PPR league, last year he caught 92 passes. Now you lose Odell Beckham Jr., that's another how many targets? 130, 150 targets, where, he's not going to get all those, but those are a lot more targets to go around. And Saquon Barkley, being that dump-off guy for Eli Manning, with that arm strength diminishing by the day, by the second, you got to imagine a lot of those targets are going to end up in the hands of Saquon Barkley.
Quick note, too, with Christian McCaffrey, I read a report that the Panthers really want a guy who's going to be the short yardage guy to take those carries near the goal line. So Christian McCaffrey may lose some touches for touchdowns, so you have to keep your eye on that. They don't want to bang him up too much. I know he had a heavy volume similar to Saquon Barkley last year, but this is a young guy they want to, I don't want to say preserve, but they don't want to give him too much wear and tear because he is also the focal point of their offense. I would look at a guy like Scarlett Jordan, who they drafted in the 5th round, or Elijah Holyfield, who went undrafted, to maybe take those goal line carries away from him. Christian McCaffrey's still going to have a pretty good fantasy outlet, but he may lose those touches, valuable touches, if you're looking at touchdowns in fantasy.
Yeah, did you see that picture of Christian McCaffrey? That picture went viral. Everybody was talking about the picture. I think that actually elevated, I swear to God, I think it elevated his fantasy draft stock, because he looked like he was straight out of like NFL Street 2004. He had the cut sleeves, he had like the sweatpants, he had the whole look going. Like, that's how they dressed the guys back then, like in the game. And he looked ripped. And I think that added to his fantasy stock. I swear to God.
You know what? He definitely looked the part. You would hope that translates to durability, and he can handle 25, 30 touches. And it looks great on social media. But when the team looks at it and they go, look, we don't want this guy taking too many hits. I mean, look at Cam Newton. He's taking hits and he's having shoulder surgeries now. So
yep.
You look at Cam, now you look at your other focal point of the offense, you look at Christian McCaffrey. You don't want to burn him out too early, especially as important as he is. You want to make sure he's healthy throughout the year.
Yeah, and I went through the same thing with my quarterback a couple years back with Andrew Luck with the shoulder, and it was not fun. What about a guy, little change of scenery here for Le'Veon Bell going to the Jets? Again, a dump-off guy, a guy who could be big in a PPR league, working with Sam Darnold, young quarterback, new offense with Adam Gase. What do you like? Do you like or do you not like the change of scenery now for Le'Veon Bell? Where are you putting him in your fantasy drafts?
Two things I like about Le'Veon Bell. First of all, I would pick him early. If you have a pick from 1 to 5, definitely I think he goes within that range. The other thing is, I believe he's the best offensive weapon that the Jets have. I know a lot of people are expecting a big year from Robbie Anderson, as am I. But when you look at Le'Veon Bell, he's basically a wide receiver in the backfield who can also run the ball. And I think the Jets are going to lean on him a lot. I know that it's going to benefit Sam Darnold. It's going to benefit his accuracy. Sam Darnold could be a little erratic, so I think they're going to have him throw more short passes, and that's what Le'Veon Bell is there for. So you get the runs and you get the receptions. I think Le'Veon Bell's a safe pick. He also apologized to fantasy football players on social media and said, sorry for holding out last year.
Yep.
But I'm back this year. So I think you trust in his word and think that he's going to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a revenge tour right now for Le'Veon Bell in fantasy. So anybody who had him last year, go get him again this year, and you could cash in on losing out on him last year. So he's definitely a guy.
I was one of
Plus,
those people.
also no wear and tear on him last year. So he just went a
Right.
full year without getting hit. So the body, recovers and revamps itself. So that's also something to keep an eye on, where he's going to have, a nice fresh body, fresh legs heading into the season. Maybe in comparison even to a guy like Saquon Barkley, who's going to go first overall, who was tops in the league last year in touches between the 92 receptions and all the carries. What about your sleepers? What about top sleeper guys that you got an eye on that nobody else out there has an eye on?
I'm looking. I'll start with the team that I cover closely, the Oakland Raiders. They have actually a couple of guys that are sleepers. I'll start with their wide receiver 2, Terrell Williams. I really like Terrell Williams this year because, one, Antonio Brown has a foot problem. He says he's closing in on 100%. Not ready to take the field yet. He showed up at Raiders practice yesterday, but didn't practice. And Gruden's offense is pretty complex. So this is whether you're a 4-time All-Pro like Antonio Brown or a newcomer, you need to be present. I know a lot of people will say, well, he was there all offseason. Mm-hmm. Much different when you're going up against a live defense during a preseason or a joint practice, and he was missing for that. So this is a guy who's got a foot problem, has missed a lot of training camp, all but one practice. And he may have foot problems throughout the season. We don't know that. So I would pick up Terrell Williams as a sleeper, wide receiver 2. He was kind of buried in that Chargers depth chart. I know they had Mike Williams, they had Keenan Allen, Travis Benjamin. Now he's going to be the clear-cut number 2 guy, and I think he's going to benefit from being there in training camp and from Antonio Brown missing a lot of time. The second sleeper with the Oakland Raiders is their tight end, Darren Waller. He converted from wide receiver to tight end with the Baltimore Ravens, I believe in 2016. Now he's strictly a tight end. I know he's been hurt, has his shoulder in the sling right now, but he's been at practice before he got hurt, and I think he'll play in a couple of preseason games before the regular season, so he'll have that practice. But he is the guy that they're pushing right now. The offensive coordinator said that they didn't want to stunt his growth, and this is why they let Jared Cook go. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at possibly a breakout tight end, I'm not saying he's going to be Eric Ebron last year, but I think he's going to have a lot of targets. He's going to rack up a lot of yards in that Raiders offense.
What about around the league? Getting away from the Raiders for a second, sleeper picks around the league.
Okay, I'll look at a guy in your wheelhouse. I look at a guy like Devin Funchess, and I think he can have a breakout. Let's just say Andrew Luck plays from this mysterious injury he's got, and let's say he actually takes the field for 15, 16 games. I look at a guy like that who can be a sleeper. Devin Funchess is a number 2 wide receiver in that depth chart. You would think he opens the season as the number 2 guy. Duke Johnson was just traded to the Texans. I think he's going to have a decent year. Lamar Miller has been disappointing as a running back. Doesn't really get the touchdowns that you would expect.
Yeah.
And I think Duke Johnson's a guy who can get those receptions out of the backfield. I know Deshaun Watson is not playing behind a great offensive line, so he has to dump off a lot of passes. So Duke Johnson's a guy I would keep an eye on for running backs. As we know, running backs are key in these leagues, and you need those running backs in this league. Can't have a running back in the starting position. Let's say you got Le'Veon Bell and Saquon Barkley, and you're lucky to get that combination. Duke Johnson could slide in as a flex option.